Okay. I'm here with Gerry Gros, who's the mayor of Anchor Point and has been chair of the Joint Council in this region and many other things. But I'll ask you, Gerry, to tell me a little bit about your role in regional development in the Northern Peninsula.
Well, I've been mayor of Anchor Point for the last 15 years, and for 15 years we've been trying to work towards regional governance or regional cooperation, whatever you want to call it. Um, there's been some things happen. 15 years ago, we had the Strait of Belle Isle Waste Committee that did all the garbage collection. Today, it's all done through NorPen for the entire region. Fire protection in the Straits area is done through NorPen. There's been some movement. 15 years ago, there was a lot of opposition to regional governance. We did a feasibility study back 12, 13 years ago. Walwyn Blackmore from Grand Falls, Windsor did the study. And there was a lot of opposition at that time. People were scared of losing their identity. There was things said like, "Oh, everything will end up in Flowers Cove." And now I'm talking about an area, a small area, about 35 kilometers from Anchor Point to Eddies Cove East. 13 communities, 2 incorporated. Um, and when you hear a comment like, "Everything will end up in Flowers Cove," everything is in Flowers Cove now. The majority of communities are bedroom communities. Anchor Point has a shrimp plant, and we have one convenience store. The rest of our services are provided by Flowers Cove, and I don't have a problem with that. Uh, I think if the region would get together, I think we could provide more services, better services. I think there would be more revenue collected that would enable us to provide things for everybody to do, like a bowling alley, things like that.
So you've already regionalized waste and fire. Has that been successful? Is that working well and showing people, I guess, example of what can be done together?
I believe it is. Certainly, the fire protection is successful. Um, I think there's mixed feelings about the waste collection. Personally, I don't have a problem with it. My garbage is collected. I don't have to worry about going to the dump, so it works for me. Other people think that because they have to move their garbage box closer to the road, they find it an inconvenience, but it works for me.
What about in regional economic development? What have been some of the things that have been attempted over the years to come together as a region in economic development?
Well, Ryan brought it up this morning in his presentation, was the Northern Peninsula pilot that we did, 6 years ago it ended, or 4 years ago. Um, there was a lot of discussion at that time. There hasn't been much follow-up on that. That's one of the problems. Having said that, uh, I'm proud to say that in Anchor Point, we have a small convenience store that was purchased by a young couple uh, 3 or 4 years ago that are currently in the process of putting up a new building, 4,800 square feet. They're more than likely investing about $500,000 into the community. So there's some economic development going on. As far as regionally concerned, one of the snowmobile dealers just opened up a new location in Savage Cove, much bigger building than he had. He had the business before in Nameless Cove, but he's moved it out to Savage Cove, so he's out in the main highway, so more open to the public and that. So there's some economic development going on, but not nearly as much as there should be. As far as the shrimp plant is concerned, the owners have invested a fair amount of money into the plant over the last number of years, and there's talk about expanding it further. Uh, Anchor Point the last 2 years uh, has about $5 million sunk into the harbor and improved the harbor greatly. It's a really a good looking harbor now.
So I guess in terms of some of the opportunities you see for the region is the fishery and the harbor infrastructure, I guess, related to that. Do you think those are some of the areas of opportunity, or where do you see, I guess, the future of the regional economy going?
It has to be with the fishery. I mean, that's what started this region, and that's what sustained it, and I don't see that changing anytime in the near future. I think tourism will help somewhat. Uh, Tourism hasn't been on the top of my mind. We get a lot of tourists going through. The operative word there is through. We don't have much of an attraction in Anchor Point as far as tourists are concerned. Just outside of Anchor Point, we have the Deep Cove site, which was the winter housing site for residents of Anchor Point. But other than that, our other claim to fame is the oldest consecrated cemetery in the Northern Peninsula. But Anchor Point is predominantly a fishing town. We have 14, 15, 16 enterprises, shrimp enterprises, working out of there. A number of small boat fishermen that harvest lobster, scallops, cod, halibut, turbot, that kind of stuff. So we're predominantly a fishing community, and that's where my concentration has been. But I think we do have to start thinking more regionally to get improved services and things like that.
So is there anything else you'd like to say about the desirable future for the region, what you'd like to see the region look like in 10 to 20 years? You've talked a bit about the fishery. It will still be important part of the economy. That's part of the future. Regional government is part of the future as far as you're concerned.
Regional, I think this conference, all the presentations I've heard have opened up my mind a bit. Maybe the regional government that I had pictured 10 years ago has changed somewhat. I think Ryan brought up some excellent points, that you can have regional governance, if you like, with still independent municipalities within that regional government. As you indicated, I'm chair of the Joint Council. I've talked to several of our mayors. We're hoping to plan a meeting over the next couple of weeks to do some follow-up discussion on this conference and to see if we can organize something for late in the winter, so more than likely March sometime or early April before the fishing season starts, to have another conference, but not so much to get the discussions that we had this time, more to develop an action plan and identify tasks and people that have to follow up on those tasks.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Joint Council actually and how it got started and some of the things it's done? Because that's, I think, another example of a regional governance institution, I guess, within the Northern Peninsula.
It's not a subject I'd like to get into.
Okay.
I think the Joint Council can do wonderful things. We've had some problems getting a quorum together. We have 13 or 14 members, so your quorum is seven or eight. At our last meeting where we actually had a quorum, we decided that this was going to change. A quorum would be the largest percentage of the people that attend a meeting. So if we have 5 people, 3 is a quorum. If you have 7, 4 is a quorum. But like I said, we've had a lot of problems getting people together. It's maybe 4 or 5 of us that really are trying to work at it.
What do you think some of the challenges are? Like, is it transportation? Is it the fact?
Distance is a problem. Timing. We have mayors within various areas of the workforce. Myself, I'm retired. Keith is retired, but Sheila Fitzgerald works, and trying to set a time and a date that works for everybody is difficult. And maybe we should start making use of technology and have teleconference meetings.
If you could make some recommendations for how to move forward with regional development, either for local players here or for provincial and federal governments, what would you suggest?
Well, one of the things that you hear at a lot of these conferences, government has got to do this and government has got to do that. And I guess it's time that we took the bull by the horns and started doing things ourselves. I think collectively we have some good ideas. And a matter of fact, just recently, Anchor Point, Bird Cove, and Flowers Cove got together and have put in a joint proposal to Transportation and Works for the paving our community roads. Now, so that Transportation and Works can tie it into paving of provincial roads, and we can piggyback onto that to reduce costs. Of course, we have to get Capital Works approval to have enough funding to do it. But there's, again, an indication of where communities can work together, and that's partly through Joint Council. Maintenance people for the water systems and that need to be done Town of Anchor Point can't afford a water maintenance person, a full-time water maintenance person. But if we got together, we could more than likely afford two or three.
And engineer was another thing that came up in our discussion.
Yes, we had an indication here where there was an engineer who had to go away to work because there wasn't enough work in St. Anthony. But we have 14 municipalities from River of Ponds north that there's more than likely enough work for one engineer. But again, there are some government regulations that prevent us from doing that. For us to to acquire Capital Works, we have to hire an engineering consultant, or we have to contract an engineering consultant. We can't hire one. To me, if you have a qualified engineer on staff, why can't they do the proposal and the drawings and all that?
So change needs to be a cooperative effort, I guess, as Ryan was saying, in governance between the local level of government and community organizations and senior levels of government, because there will need to be some legislative change or some changes in the programs and policies to make some of this work. It sounds
Absolutely, and there's legislative changes required there. There's some changes required in the Municipalities Act that will allow um, a municipality to initiate varying mill rates. So, well, Ryan indicated one this morning where they had actually had 10 different mill rates. Uh, our legislation doesn't allow that at this point in time. So if we were allowed varying mill rates, I think a community like Eddies Cove would be more likely to come on side if their mill rate was only 3 mills as compared to 9.5 mills in Anchor Point. And their mill rate wouldn't increase until they got the additional services.
great. Well, I think at least there's some ideas out there about how to move forward, and hopefully, I think some willingness as well to discuss how we can put some of these, at least pilot some of these ideas.
Absolutely. And I think, well, we've got three mayors from the, well, I'll call it the Straits area, Keith, myself, and Andre, and we are working together. But we're three municipalities out of, what, 26, 27 communities. We've got to get these other communities on side. And it's time to demonstrate to them the benefits of joining forces.
Is there anything else you'd like to add at all about the future of the region or regional development?
Actually, the one thing I found this conference very informative. It's opened my mind a bit. And I think there's some commitment, at least from the people that I've talked to follow up on this and start taking some action rather than just talking about it at a conference and then forgetting about it until the next conference.
That's great to hear. We'd certainly like to see that happen, and I think from Grenfell campus, we're here as partners to be involved as well.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks.